Hi everyone, Mr. Vidich here. Today we're going to do lesson 6.4 on equations with fractions and variables in the denominator. Before we jump into it, let me first ask you a few things. Okay, if I say 5 equals 5, well, that's an equation, and that's true because 5 equals 5. As long as the left side equals the right side, everything's okay. Now, what if I took and I multiplied both sides by 2? Okay, there we go. I'm going to multiply this side by 2, and I'm going to multiply this side by 2. Okay, am I allowed to do that? Well, let's see what happens. Well, the left side becomes 10, and the right side also becomes 10. Well, the left side equals the right side, so everything's okay. So that's one little trick here you can do is you can multiply, well, as long as I do the same operation to both sides, I can basically do anything to an equation. Okay, I can I can multiply this by both sides by 10. Let's see what happens. Multiply both sides by 10 again, and now I'm going to get 100 here and 100 here. Okay, as long as I'm not changing, as long as the left side equals the right side, I'm okay. Okay, so using that little trick, let's go ahead and do some problems where there are fractions, and we're going to see how this little trick here can help us. Okay, well, the first question we have is we have 5 over 3b equals 2 over 5b plus 2 over 3. Well, there is, you can do your old-fashioned method and get the b over to the other side. So I would have, I'm going to do it over here. Let me rewrite it. Okay, I can take this 2 over 5 here and move it to the other side. I have to subtract it. Now I have to get a common denominator, which in this case will be 15. So I'm going to go 15. Let me write my b here over 15 b, and again I'm going to change my, this is going to turn into a 25. This 2 here is going to turn into a 6. And the 2 over 3 is left on this side. Finally 25 minus 6 is 19 over 15b equals 2 over 3. Now I have to multiply both sides by 15, multiply both sides by 3, divide by 2, or excuse me, divide by, so this takes a really long time. Okay, I'm going to show you a much simpler way to do this question. And here's how we do it. Okay, if we look first of all for it, let me just get rid of all of this here. Okay, the first step would be to get the lowest common multiple of the 3 and the 5 and the 3. In other words, all of your denominators. So the lowest common multiple of 3, 5, and 3 is going to be 15. Okay, once you have your lowest common denominator, I'm going to multiply every term in this equation by 15. Okay, I'm going to make a little note here. So I'm going to multiply this thing by 15. I'm going to multiply this thing by 15. I'm going to multiply this thing by 15. Okay, so let's write this thing out in full here, and let's see what happens. So I'm going to get 15 times 5 over 3b. On this side, I'm going to get 15 times 2 over 5b over here, and then finally 15 times 2 over 3. Okay, and look what happens now. Okay, well, this here is going to simplify into 15 divided by 3 is going to be 5. Here, 15 divided by 5, this is going to turn into a 3, and 15 divided by 3 again over here, this is going to turn into a 5. Okay, so really what I end up having is I end up eliminating all the denominators. So I'm simplifying all the fractions, and I'm actually eliminating them because all the denominators are now gone. So over here I have 5 times 5 is 25b equals 3 times 2 is 6b, and here I have plus 10. Okay, so look what happens. So just by multiplying both sides or everything by 15, I've eliminated all my denominators and turned this into a fairly easy type 2 equation here, or type 3, I should say. Okay, now I have to subtract both sides, get the 6b over here, and finally I have 25 minus 6, that's 19b equals 10. And then my final answer is going to be divide both sides by 19. This gets rid of the 19 here, and b equals, running out of space here, b equals 10 over 19. Okay, so a much simpler way of doing this, using a little trick of multiplying every term by the lowest common denominator. Okay, let's go ahead and try the next example here. Here we have 7 over 2f minus 5 thirds equals 9 over 4. Again, the lowest common multiple between the 2, 3, and the 4 is going to be 12. So I'm going to multiply everything, all the terms in my equation by 12. Multiply that by 12 and multiply that by 12. Okay, look what happens when we do that. Okay, I have 12 times 7 over 2 f minus 12 times 5 over 3 equals 12 times 9 over 4. And now I start getting rid of things here, simplifying stuff. 12 divided by 2, that's going to be a 6. 12 divided by 3, that's going to be a 4. And 12 divided by 4 is going to be a 3. So when I work everything out, I end up with 42f minus 20 equals 3 times 9 is 27. Okay, so I've turned this more complex looking equation into something that we're all very familiar with. Fractions are always a little bit trickier to work with. So try and get rid of them, and this is a good way to do that. So now I'm going to move the 20 over to the other side. I'm going to get 42f equals 27 plus 20. 42f equals 47, and f equals 47 divided by 42. Okay, let's go ahead and do this one over here. And now we have some brackets. I have 2/5 and then in a bracket h minus 1, and then 2/3 h plus 4 in the bracket here. So imagine trying to distribute this into every bracket here and get rid of the brackets. Well, that would create a lot of fractions and a lot of work for you. So let's go ahead and use our strategy of multiplying everything by the common denominator, the lowest common multiple, to get rid of those denominators. So let's look at my denominators, and in this case it's the 5 and the 3. So 15 is my lowest, my LCM. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to multiply both sides by 15, or I should say every term by 15. That's going to be times 15, and that's going to be 5 times 15. Let me write this out. 15, and then times 2 over 5, and then h minus 1 equals 15 times 2/3 h plus 4. Okay, here we go. Let's start simplifying stuff. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 15 divided by 3 here is 5. And voila, there goes the denominators. This looks much easier now. 3 times 2 is 6. So I have 6. H minus 1 and 10 h plus 4. Okay, so now what we can do is we can distribute now. Now it would make more sense to distribute to get rid of those brackets there, so we can unravel and solve and figure out what h is. Okay, solve for h. So here we have 6h minus 6, 10h plus 40. Now we can start combining things. I'm going to move the 6h over there and the 40 to the left side. So I'm going to get negative 6 minus 40 over here, and 10h minus 6h over here. Hopefully everybody's okay with that. I have negative 46 on the left side and 4h on the right side. Finally, I divide both sides by 4. Get rid of this. Divide this side by 4. And I can simplify that to negative 23 over 2 equals h. Okay, I would like everybody to try this at home on their own. This example over here. Okay, I'm going to finish off with the last one on the right over here, and that is our we haven't looked at this yet, and that is when we have a variable in the denominator. Okay, first of all, let's ignore this for a second over here. Let me just go down and find some blank space here. So here's an example. What if I had something like 6 divided by x equals 2? Well, I think we can probably all again use mental math to solve this. I have 6 divided by some number equals 2. So what do I need to divide the 6 by? Well, that would be 3. 6 divided by 3 would give me 2. So x equals 3. I think we can all get that in our head. But how do we actually do this algebraically and solve for x? Because when the questions get more complex, you're not going to be able to use mental math. Well, in order to get it to look like this, you notice here that the x is on the x is on the top. In other words, this is really x over 1. Okay, but what we start with, x is in the denominator, and that's not going to help us because if we want to solve for x, find out what x is, it needs to be on the top. It's no good to have it on the bottom. All right, so how do we get it up to the top? Well, we use a similar method we just did in the previous couple examples, and that is trying getting rid of the denominator. So what is the common denominator here? Well, the common denominator is, well, this 2 doesn't even have a denominator. Really, it's just 1. So what's the lowest common multiple between x and 1? Well, it's just going to be x. So I'm going to multiply everything by x. Okay, and look what happens there. I have x over x cancels out, turns into a 1. So I'm left with 6 equals 2x. Okay, and then finally I'm going to divide both sides by 2 to get rid of this 2 and isolate that x by itself, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Okay, and that is exactly what we got using mental math. So there's your answer there. And again, 3 equals x is the same thing as x equals 3. It doesn't really matter what side it's on, as long as you have the same thing on each side. Okay, so that is a method that we can use to get the variable in the numerator or up top if you prefer. Okay, so let's look at this example. I have p here, which is going to be a problem, and I have a 3 here, so I'm going to look at the common denominator. Sorry, I keep saying that. Lowest common multiple, LCM, between the 3 and the p is really 3p, a combination of both of them. So I'm going to multiply every term by 3p. So here we go, 3p over here, 3p over here, and 3p over here. And look what happens now. I end up simplifying. Well, let me write this out. So it's 3p times 4 over p minus, well, 3p times 1 is just going to be 3p equals 1 over 3 times 3p. And look what happens. The p and the p cancel each other out. The 3 and the 3 cancel each other out over here. So I'm left with 3 times 4 is 12 minus 3p, and then 1 times p is just p. Okay, looking a lot better. Now I'm going to get this 3p over here, so I'm going to get 12 equals p plus 3p. 12 equals 4p. Divide both sides by 4. And I'm finally left with p by itself. And again, the key thing is that p is on the top and not on the bottom, because if it was on the bottom, if I was somehow ended up with 3 equals 1 over p, that wouldn't really help me, because that's really 1 divided by p, and I want to get what p is, so I need to get it to the top. Okay, so those are some a very powerful method that you can really use to help make your life easier when you're dealing with equations that have fractions in them, and especially if you have the thing you're looking for, the variable, on the bottom as the denominator. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you next time.